Good morning. Hello, hello. I hope you're doing well today. And I don't know if it's morning or evening or midday or whatever it is, but I hope you're doing well. And today what we are going to be going through are rolling pins. So yes, I'm sitting on a foam roller. Do love a foam roller. I use them a lot. I tend to use them far more for stability exercises than I do for myofascial release. And that is because it's hard to get into little angles with these, whether it's this big guy or smaller one. It's really hard to get into the little creases of your neck, to your jaw, the front of your chest. And even if you're working and rolling out your quads, you have to be in a plank. So it tends to be quite a bit of effort in order to use a foam roller really effectively. So if we're somebody that has been dealing with a lot of pain, that pain is causing weakness or causing mobility changes, or you're somebody that has a really reactive injury, or not even injury, just a reactive space of tension, sometimes foam rollers don't do the trick and they actually can end up making your body a bit less comfortable. So that's how rolling pins came into life. One of my coworkers was using one. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous until I tried it and I realized how brilliant it was. So I have two here. This was my first one because surprisingly it took me a while to find this one. This one doesn't have the ball bearings. And yes, it's fine if you're just doing your legs and stuff like that or your head, but it doesn't give you as much freedom of motion because you really have to have an open palm and so that you don't get as much room. So you can see that difference is I really have to be active in it. Versus this one, I can just fly away. And so the difference really comes down into how much variability you get in the type of myofascial release. So if you aren't aware, I might as well explain myofascial release basically just means muscle fascia release. So it's just a way of releasing any adhesions in our soft tissues, and that can help to promote then blood flow and lymphatic circulation. Both of those help promote healing. And so when we feel tension, that tension is often an indicator of some sort of myofascial adhesion. Not always, but it's usually a good indicator. So what I wanted to go through today was the use of this magic toy here, and specifically on our neck. And that is because the neck, in my experience, has been the most challenging place to use a foam roller, but also one of those places that we all have excessive amount of tension. And especially these days, I would easily say 75% of my clients, and I'm totally pulling that out of nowhere, are having more neck tension or pain than they normally would. I think that's due to this change of lifestyle where we're sitting a lot more, we're probably reading a lot more, we're not as up and active, doing variable activities, we're doing pretty much the same sort of activities every day. So with that, let's do the neck. So if you don't have one, I definitely suggest getting one. Just order it online, pretty easy. I was actually surprised how hard it was to find in store these days. Apparently they're out of fashion. But anyways, if you don't have one, you can just watch for when you do get one. If you have one, bring her on out, or bring him on out. And so, with your hair out of the way, if you're a girl or a guy, just make sure you don't have it there, it'll get pulled up. And so, you have to have a bit of shoulder range of motion. So sure, if you have a shoulder injury, this can be a bit challenging. But if you don't, then the best place for you to start is with your hands about in line with your ears so that the rolling pin comes in line with where your neck and your head blend. Instead of going right down the middle, because if you go right down the middle, you have a lot of bony prominences. Instead, go onto one side. So that's the biggest tip I can give you for rolling out, is use right side or left side as your point of focus. Try not to go down the middle, not because I don't think it's going to cause any injury on your spine, but it's just not really that comfortable. All of our muscles are on the side of our spine, so it's really not necessary unless you're trying to do a specific technique, which I may show at some point, but not yet. This is just our warm-up, a little intro into rolling pin work. So as you come through, I start quite small. And that's because I go for this mentality that our muscles respond to input. So if we first add in really deep and really firm, well, they're going to restrict themselves. They're going to constrict, they're going to protect, because that's an indicator of injury. Our nervous system is going to recognize there's some sort of influence that may not be beneficial. So the first thing we want to do in myofascial release in general is allow your nervous system to recognize that what you're doing isn't going to cause harm. So start nice and soft, a little bit slow, and at a pace and at an intensity, so how much you press in, where it feels quite enjoyable. You're like, I wish someone would do this every night when I'm going to bed. And then start wrapping around your head so that then you come closer to your jaw and more under your ear. So I'll turn this way, pardon my back, but that way you can see better. And then bring it back a little bit closer to midline, and then a little bit closer to your jaw. That can be enough for a lot of us, in the sense that you can just focus easily on that and feel quite a good amount of release. But it's always fun to explore. So what I would suggest that you do here is start making your strokes longer and slower. And so that as you do this, you once again switch around from midline to closer to your jaw, and just go little long sweeps, slower pace. So once again, you're not really trying to beat up your muscles. You're trying to allow your muscles to relax. Really, it's like, I don't know if you guys have made bread, but that idea that you're just kneading it. You're not beating it. So there's a difference between that knead where it's like, oh, hello, we're friends, and really pounding in and hurting your muscles. Your muscles don't really like that. And it'll end up often that you'll feel sore, which is not my end goal, particularly with the clients that I work with. My end goal is to actually allow us to feel better immediately and the days following, instead of having your days following be tender, sore, etc. All right, so then relax. So if you were doing it, give yourself a little shake. If you weren't doing it, still give yourself a little shake. Instead of me demoing on the other side, I'll do that off screen, but I'll go into the jaw one. And the jaw one is the second reason why I love rolling pin work, is that you can be quite relaxed and really get through all of our TMJ. So TMJ is temporomandibular joint, mouthful, as you just heard me. And it's pretty much just saying that it's where your jaw blends in with your face bones, and it's right in front of our earlobe. And so that's sort of the crease that we work through manually. But with the foam roller, I like you to now actually use your finger, find your cheekbone, that top part of your cheekbone, and then from there you walk down in front of your earlobe, and you should be able to feel a lot of bony bits until you get to the bottom of your jaw, and then it ends. So that's the space. It's really small. And so in that space, if you then go with maybe 4 fingers wide, you should be able to feel a lot of thick muscles. And that's because we have very strong muscles here. Especially for us who talk a lot. But anyways, you have this space here. And so it's not a big space to work through, but it's an effective space to work through. And so you want to angle your foam roller, I keep saying foam roller, your rolling pin, to be perpendicular to this line so that you have a nice cross there. With this, the really important part is letting your jaw hang out. So I'll move this up so you can see my mouth, so that you're really loose and open in your mouth, really relaxed. So I'm gonna have to stop talking for a moment. And so if you can see, if your mouth is really loose, then this space gets bigger, the muscles get put on stretch. When our muscles get put on stretch, that means that they have a bit more response because you're already putting some force through it, so that when you then go to do release work, you don't have to do as much. So that's really important. This is really one of those that less is more. Your muscles are open, your jaw is open, and you just roll really lightly and really small. So if you can see, it's just a small motion of the roller. And then what I tend to play with from here, my mouth isn't dangling, but when I'm here, I tend to then play with different neck positions. And that is because our neck attaches so closely into our jaw. And so that what happens at our jaw is very much linked to what happens at our neck. So it's just the fascial lines and how all of the soft tissue blends. And then relax. So that's a little opener on rolling pin work. Over the time frames ahead of us, I'm probably going to be using this more often to show techniques that are much more specific. So like one that's a specific jaw release, I sometimes use the rolling pin instead of my fingers. And the whole idea is that if you can use tools instead of using your hands, then it means that there's less load on your fingers, that you can do the release technique longer and better. But also, the more options we have, then the more opportunity we have to find the right technique for our body. And even though I want to be showing everybody all these different techniques so that you can apply physio on yourself, one thing you have to remember is that why physios or physical therapists or occupational therapists and osteopaths and chiros have all of these different techniques is that not all the techniques work for everybody. So it's a playing around, it's a process of discovery for every person of which technique is best for this body. So the more options you have, the more opportunity you have to find the one that's going to work for your body on that day. Because also, the technique that will work for you can change really quickly as symptoms progress, as your body progresses. And so variability is key. All right, well, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll probably post this up. Just makes it easier for everybody. And until next time, enjoy life and enjoy being home. I hope you guys are capable or finding a way to slow down and be okay with being inside. But if not, I wish you the best. And I'll see you guys soon.